Sister Davis was so grateful for your visit and for the help of the other sisters in the ward. After her husband died, she really needed someone to talk to. And, you know, you really have the spirit of the work.
I just want the sisters to be able to feel the love of the Lord in their lives every day, especially when they're having hard times.
I've been meeting with Sister Janice Bench. Things aren't going well for her. She's been having a hard time ever since her divorce.
She's working at the hospital, isn't she? Well, her schedule is so unpredictable. I haven't seen her in Relief Society since I've been called.
And she's been trying desperately to make it on her own, keep the family afloat, but her child support and her income are insufficient. She'd be willing to meet with you. Would you be willing to give Janice a call and assess her needs?
Well, are you talking about food or clothing? I've never filled out a food order before.
I have one here that I can go over with you. But before we do that, let's talk about welfare, okay? Let me tell you my vision of welfare. It's both spiritual and temporal well-being. I have a favorite scripture here that defines for me what welfare is. It was spoken by King Benjamin in the Book of Mormon. And now for the sake of retaining a remission of your sins from day to day, that ye may walk guiltless before God, I would that ye should impart of your substance to the poor, every man according to that which he hath, such as feeding the hungry, there's the food order, clothing the naked, visiting the sick, and administering to their relief, both spiritually and temporally, according to their wants. I read this often to remind me that both the giver and the receiver are blessed as we give assistance. Now, as you visit Janice in her home, listen to what she's saying. Listen for both the needs and wants, and the Spirit will guide you.
I can't help but think about charity never faileth. Charity is the pure love of Christ, and that's the essence of welfare, isn't it?
You'll have some of your sweetest and most tender moments in your calling as you reach out to those in need.
I remember something Elder Eyring said in conference once about how we represent the Lord in our callings. His words, "Your hands to lift, the same as his hands."
It's interesting that you mentioned that. You know, the Lord himself commanded us to succor the weak, lift up the hands that hang down, and strengthen the feeble knees. Your hands, and those of the other sisters in Relief Society, will become those hands.
I know the sisters really do want to help.
We have so many wonderful and compassionate people in the ward, but we need to remember that the way to help is not so much about us solving problems as it is about helping families understand difficulties and find their own solutions. Just listen to her and support her as she explores solutions. She needs to feel your sisterly concern and your love for her. Now, let me explain this welfare food order to you. And what you want to do is you don't want to just fill it out for, one day.
Janice, it's so good to see you.
You can too.
Okay. Well, you've grown your hair out. It looks pretty. I like it.
I'm trying something new.
Well, when I talked with you on the phone, I mentioned that the bishop asked me to come over to see you. So tell me, Janice, how are you?
I'm fine.
And how are the kids? Is Jacob still playing basketball?
Yeah, he really loves that. He's made a lot of friends, and of course I can't go to many of his games. I have to work. He's going to turn 16 next year. He wants to play high school basketball. I don't know. Maybe he's going to have to get a job now.
Have you spoke with him about this?
Not yet.
I was in Young Women's last week, and I saw Lisa give a short thought in the meeting. How is she enjoying serving in the Miami presidency?
She likes it. She's gotten to know a few of the girls and has some friends she can hang around with, so that's good.
She seems really at ease with the class.
Yeah, well, she does really well in school, too. She wants to be a nurse. Yeah, that used to be a dream of mine way back when. I wanted to help people. I thought I might enjoy that. Kind of talk about it sometimes.
I didn't know that you wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah, that's why I got the job at the hospital, but what I do now is a far cry from nursing.
Well, what would have to happen for you to become a nurse?
Oh, it's not possible. Not with everything I have to do.
Well, if it were possible, what would you have to do?
Well, I guess I'd have to get some training.
And where would you go?
You know, Lisa was thinking of going to the community college, and maybe I could check that out.
Oh, Janice, you've got so much life ahead of you. You just need to decide what you want to do. We miss Davy. How's he doing?
He's such a funny kid. I never have to worry about him. He's so good-natured. And he loves to draw. That's his self-portrait over there. Oh. That's what he called it when he brought it home. You know, but his teacher's always sending notes home from school saying that he can't read very well. I wish that school would do more for him.
Have you spoke with his teacher about that?
No, she would just say that I needed to come in and help, and I can't. I have to work.
Well, is there anything you can do at home?
You know, Jacob and Lisa could probably take turns reading with him. Lisa would do it. I think they'd actually enjoy it.
You've been speaking with the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be okay if I spoke with him about these things?
Yeah, that'd be okay.
All right.
That's kind of why you're really here, isn't it? Yes. This is embarrassing.
You know, Janice, I've never done this before. And you've been so nice to me.
Oh.
I've brought this food order. Let's go over some of the things that you might need. What do you like to cook?
Well, anything simple.
Okay.
Soups, chili, hamburger, stuff like that.
You know, my family's favorite food is still macaroni and cheese. My 17-year-old son, he's my oldest. It's still his favorite.
Oh, that's Davey's favorite, too. He calls it logs.
That reminds me of a home family and personal enrichment night that we're planning. And we're doing meal planning. Would you like to come?
Well, I don't know. I have to work nights sometimes. But maybe I could get it off. I could check.
Great. Okay. Now back to this food order. Let's just plan on ordering what you need for the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll come back in a week and we'll reevaluate and see what worked.
Okay. Wait a minute. How am I going to get all this food home? I don't have a car.
Well,
is that something that you do?
Do you have some family members that might be able to help you?
I have a sister in town. Maybe she could take me.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay. But am I going to be able to get the food without you there?
Just show them this food order and pick up what we've listed.
Okay.
It'll be okay. Now, what do you think about milk? How much do you use?
3 gallons a week.
Okay.
So, how are things going with your new calling?
Well, I had a wonderful visit with Janice last night. Turns out we both have a soft spot for macaroni and cheese.
Well, that's a good comfort food.
Yes, and I was able to speak with her about some things. Here, I've made a list.
Okay. Well, I see you put furnace.
Bishop, that apartment was so cold. I don't think the furnace was broken. I think it was just turned off. I wonder if she might need some help with paying her utilities.
Well, she didn't mention that to me when I met with her. Well, I'll talk to you about that. How is she feeling about things?
Overwhelmed. I think the problems keep piling on and she doesn't know what to do. The more she talked, the more I realized that what she needs more than anything else is hope.
Well, that's the key. She needs to feel loved and valued, and she needs to feel like we support her in her efforts to become self-reliant. Let's see what else you've got here. Oh, the food order. How'd that go?
Well, we filled out the order. It's enough for 2 weeks. And we'll get together again and see how she's doing.
That's great. It's a good first step.
I told her about our home, family, and personal enrichment meeting that's coming up, and she seemed interested. I'm going to ask her visiting teachers if they'll follow up.
Well, the association with the sisters will really help her. Let's see, you've got down here the kids.
Yes. She gets a great deal of joy out of her youngest son, Davy. He's not reading at grade level, so she's going to try and get the 2 oldest children to spend some time reading with him.
So a couple of questions come to mind. Do they have books at home? Does Janice feel comfortable reading with him? Does she read?
Oh, well, that never occurred to me, Bishop. I'll find out.
Great. And I'll put books on the welfare committee agenda. Maybe one of the members will have some books they can lend them. How about her daughter, Lisa? How's she doing?
Lisa is interested in becoming a nurse.
Oh.
So I thought that I would have Sister Brown go in and visit with her. She's an RN, and she might be able to lead her on the right path. What do you think?
Well, I'm all for it as long as it's what Janice wants for her family. But let's ask Janice first.
Well, did you know that Janice has always dreamed about being a nurse?
That's interesting. When I sit down with Janice, we'll explore what she wants to do with that dream. Sister Jorgensen, you have done a wonderful job. And I know a lot better now what Janice's situation is. And when you see her this week and talk to her, will you please tell me how she's doing? Because she needs our love and support.
Okay.